Hawaii is paradise, and it's an amazing place to visit with swaying palm trees and pristine beaches and new cultural experiences to explore. While the thought of living on these stunning islands might be a dream come true, there's much more to consider than just swaying palm trees and crystal clear waters. What is it really like living in Hawaii? What is the cost of living? What is the island life like when you settle into everyday living? In today's video, we'll explore some of the practical things you need to know and tips to help you prepare for a successful move to Hawaii. Hi, I'm Scott Startsman with the High Estates team, and for over 2 decades, I've helped people move to Hawaii, buy a home, and successfully integrate into the community. So subscribe here for more moving to Hawaii information and for real estate in Hawaii, and let us know how we can help you. We've also packed a lot of information in the description section below, so feel free to check out those resources as well. Okay, so first, Hawaii is an island state made up of 8 main islands, and each island is vastly different. So you'll need to figure out which island is right for you. The main Hawaiian islands span roughly 385 miles, and because each island is so unique, for me, my vacation travel the first 6 years that I lived here was to the other islands. So figuring out which island is best for you and your family's needs is the first important step. The Big Island, or Hawaii Island as it is officially called now, is 4,000 square miles and makes up 63% of the landmass of the Hawaiian Islands. In fact, if you took all the other islands and put them on top of the Big Island, it still wouldn't cover all the Big Island. With roughly 200,000 people on the Big Island, it is more of a laid-back country setting with your main towns being Hilo and Kona, sprinkled in with some of the most amazing resort communities in the state, such as the iconic Mauna Kea Resort, Mauna Lani, and Waialae. Things move at a much slower pace there. I first started on the Big Island when I came to Hawaii in 1999, and it is still very close to my heart and a place that I call home. But the Big Island for me was limited in economic opportunities, with tourism and agriculture being its main economic hub. Maui is known as the Valley Island with some spectacular beauty of its own, and it's the second largest island in the Hawaiian chain. Its population is around 170,000. I call Maui the in-between island, meaning it's not nearly as urban or busy as Oahu, and you don't have those big city options, but it isn't as slow and laid back as Kauai or the Big Island. Plus, Maui has some pretty ritzy areas like Kihei, Wailea, and Makena, and then Kapalua on the west side has some pretty upscale areas as well. Then you blend that with the road to Hana or Paia or upcountry Maui, and you have quite a bit of diversity when it comes to lifestyle living. Maui is also like the Big Island, where it is heavily based on tourism, with roughly 80% of the economy for that island coming from tourism. Kauai is known as the Garden Island, and the extreme natural beauty is on full display, with Waimea Canyon known as the Grand Canyon of the Pacific and the Leeward Coast on the northwest side of the island. If you have a chance to hike part of the Kalalau Trail to experience the Leeward Coast, or take a catamaran tour or kayak that coastline, it is a jaw-droppingly beautiful experience. Kauai is full of that small-town vibe all around, and there is one main road that gets you around from the north side of the island to the east and down to the south side of the island. Most people are familiar with the Princeville Resort on the north side of the island that overlooks Honolulu Bay, which has a more lush green setting, and this area gets the big North Shore surf that rolls in during the wintertime. Then you have the resorts in Poipu on the south side of the island, and they have a much more arid and dry setting, and they get the summer south swells that come rolling in. Again, like the other outer islands, Kauai is mainly dependent on tourism for its economic base. And then there's Oahu, known as the gathering place, with the majority of the state's population on it, with roughly 1 million people that live here. Oahu is where the state's capital is, and it's the economic hub for the state and where you find the most economic diversity and job opportunities. I like to say Oahu has it all. It's where I can work hard and play hard. If you want those hip urban shops and restaurants, concerts to go to, or if you want that more sleepy beach town or that quiet country setting, you can have all of those options on Oahu, and they aren't that far from each other. So Oahu is broken down into 5 basic regions for you to understand: the Windward side, the North Shore, the Leeward Coast, Central Oahu, and Metro Honolulu. The Windward side is located on the eastern side of Oahu, which is where our trade winds and our weather typically rolls in from. This side of the island is our lush green side of the island. As the clouds roll in and hit the coalouts, they will drop the moisture before the clouds make it over the mountains, so it tends to get more rain on this side of the island. The Windward side consists of smaller towns like Kailua and Kaneohe, and then you get up the Winward Coast to smaller, quiet country settings like Ka'a'ava and Hauula. Kailua is one of our most popular communities on the island, and I normally describe it as that boutique beach community with boutique small town shops and restaurants, and it is anchored by 2 world-class beaches, Lanikai Beach and Kailua Beach, with some real estate that matches that beauty. To get into Honolulu is a short drive over the Ko'olau Mountains from Kailua. Now, if you live further up the Winward Coast towards the North Shore, then getting into the urban areas can be upwards of an hour's drive, but the further up the coast you go into the country, the more affordable your housing options get. The North Shore is our country setting with miles of beautiful beaches and some of the best surf in the world. If you want to be more removed, have that more country setting, maybe you have a little more land, or you want the best of a relaxed vibe, and you love the ocean, then the North Shore could be a great spot for you. The North Shore has some great larger agricultural land if you're looking for some farming opportunities. If you have driven from Waialae down through the pineapple fields as you descend on Waialae Ave in the North Shore and look out to the winter surf that's coming in, you know some of the land I'm referring to, and you know that picturesque scene. Waialae Ave is also the main social and arts hub for the North Shore. If you live on the North Shore, you're probably not going to be coming into Honolulu too often, and your life will revolve around the North Shore area and the ocean. Now, the Leeward Coast is up the upper west side of the island and is a much more locally rooted area with ag land, residential properties, and Hawaiian homesteads as well. I have clients that live up along the coast here, and I've stayed on the Leeward Coast quite a bit, and I love the beaches, and the sunsets are amazing up on the coast here. It is a more relaxed vibe. Every time I would go to the store on the Leeward Coast, the cashiers are always so nice, and they take the time to say hello, so you get a little bit of that outer island, easygoing vibe here. The drive out of the Leeward Coast can be a challenge though, with only one way in and one way out, so if you were to commute from here into Honolulu, it would be difficult, and heaven forbid there's a wreck that closes down the road. You might as well turn around and call it a day and go to one of those beautiful beaches. Now, you can get a lot more house for your money on the Leeward Coast, but the trade-off is traffic, and the commute can be a challenge. Metro Honolulu, or town as the locals call it, is the island's urban center, and then there is the urban corridor that is the place where a majority of our economic activity is on the island and a majority of our housing is located. In the Honolulu urban core area is where a majority of our high-rise condos are as well, so it gets much more dense in that urban area, and then as you go outside of the urban core, you get residential neighborhoods. Keep in mind, Oahu became a state in 1959, so there was a large economic boom in the 1960s and 1970s, and Oahu's development occurred from the Waikiki-Honolulu area outward. So a lot of the homes and neighborhoods you will see in the Metro Honolulu area are from the 1960s and 1970s, and the homes are smaller in size because we are limited in land and our lots tend to be smaller. The prices are also more expensive, but you choose to live here because of the convenience of everything Honolulu has to offer, including some great beaches, surfing, and outdoor activities. Living in or near town means you get access to everything that Honolulu has to offer. That means you have access to world-class shopping, hip restaurants, concerts and plays, and everything else the city offers to you. Waikiki is its own unique place, which has a world-famous beach, but it's also very touristy with lots of people and very transient, but it also has some great resorts, shops, and restaurants. Hawaii is paradise, and its cost of living index matches that. Because of limited land and the need to ship goods in from the mainland, Hawaii's cost of living index is the highest in the country. The main idea to understand is that we are a tiny speck of land out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and Hawaii has a global appeal, so our real estate prices are really high compared to most other areas of the country. And because goods have to be shipped in to get here, you as the consumer have to pay for that shipping. Perishable goods don't last long, so they tend to be more expensive than the same goods on the mainland. So you will see a gallon of milk at Safeway for $8, but if you know how and where to shop, then you know to go to Costco and get that same gallon of milk for $5.50. Electricity costs in Hawaii on average double the national average at over $400 a month. That scale can vary wildly depending on your family size and the type of property you own. Also, if you have photovoltaic on your roof, that can reduce your electric bill down to the minimum of around $30 a month. Property taxes here on Oahu are some of the lowest in the country. And keep in mind, our weather is moderate all year round, so you'll have less clothes to buy and wear because of it. The lifestyle is wonderful, and so having a good understanding of how to stretch and make your dollar work the best for you is key to being able to enjoy Hawaii and not be too strained by the cost of living. If you're looking at making a move to Hawaii, make sure to check out some of the helpful links we have in the description below. We really want people to be successful in their move to Hawaii, and we understand how big of a move it really is. There's nothing worse for us than to see someone make a mistake or fail. So if you're looking to move here and buy a home and have any questions or want to discuss your situation, we're open to having a conversation with you. There's a link below that you can click on to tell us about your needs and to set up a time to chat with us. When it comes to jobs, Oahu is the economic epicenter for Hawaii and for the best job opportunities. There will be a broad range of fields for you to choose from on Oahu, but make sure you do your research online and understand the pay versus cost of living here. Oftentimes, the pay does not match the higher cost of living, so you want to make sure to do your research to make sure you and your family's needs will be taken care of if you do move here and take a job. Hawaii is also very much about personal relationships and who you know. So the best way you will find a great job in Hawaii is by connecting with people who live and work here. Know this, if you can get a solid referral from a solid person here in Hawaii, your job prospects will be 1,000 times higher than someone sending blind emails via LinkedIn. You may need to put in extra work or even be here on island to get face-to-face to get serious consideration, as employers get lots of mainland inquiries from people with dreams of living in and working in Hawaii for it not to work out after a few months. That's not a good scenario for both you and for the employer. Now, if you're thinking about starting a business in Hawaii, understand Hawaii's strong entrepreneurial community means you have a support system of like-minded individuals that are invested in seeing businesses grow and succeed. Oahu is home to award-winning accelerators, co-working spaces, and programs for growing businesses, and it is fairly simple to get a business up and running. But keep in mind, though, the cost of renting business space, employees and benefits, and the higher tax rates can be a significant challenge. It is typically ranked towards the bottom in places to start a business due to the higher costs and the distance from the mainland, but keep in mind, Hawaii is a great middle bridge location between the mainland and Asia. So if you're moving to Oahu, you should understand some of the types of properties that are available when you arrive. Since housing is shelter, we all need some form of housing, so it is a good idea to understand what type of properties are here so you can plan what furniture to bring with you and what not to bring, and what your general living arrangements will be like. Since Oahu has limited land and the largest percentage of the state's population, we have a significant number of condo and townhouse options here. In fact, 65% of Oahu's housing inventory is in the form of condos or townhouses, and a majority of our high-rise condos are in Oahu's urban core. On the single-family home side, if you're in Metro Honolulu, then a lot of our housing inventory was built in the 1960s and 1970s after statehood. And because land and housing in general are expensive here, most people don't tear down and build new, but they remodel and build additions, so you'll see a lot of these types of homes in the 700 to 1,500 square foot range, and they will have single wall construction like this home here. This here is redwood tongue and groove, and it acts as your interior and exterior wall. You can see the redwood tongue and groove planks on the inside of the home and the outside of the home, and your electrical is then surface mounted on the interior, and we have jealousy windows, which also are popular during that time period and provide maximum ventilation and airflow for our trades. These homes don't really have insulation, which you can get away with due to our mild temperatures, but they are very energy inefficient if you're running your AC. These types of homes can come as a surprise for people moving here from the mainland, but if you want the convenience that the urban areas offer, then this type of house will be one that you will probably be considering when you're looking to buy. Multi-generational homes are homes that have a mother-in-law quarters or a second living area, possibly even an ADU, which means an accessory dwelling unit, or perhaps an ohana unit. We see this in our urban stretch as well as where our living density is higher than in the country settings. You also have master plan community options, which you see the further out from downtown Honolulu you go, in particular in the Ewa Beach and Kapolei areas. These are newer homes and are very similar to what you are seeing in mainland development tract homes or master plan communities on the mainland. The product is very similar and you have a great variety of options to choose from, so if new construction is something you're looking for, there are some great existing communities to choose from, as well as some up-and-coming new communities to choose from as well. Custom homes are the last type of home to consider. The latest and greatest in design and materials are in these homes, and you will tend to see these types of homes either in oceanfront settings or very close to it, or in some of our more luxury neighborhoods, most of which are located near Honolulu, Hawaii Kai, and Kailua. The indoor-outdoor concept is very popular on Oahu due to our moderate temperature all year round and due to the fact that our building costs tend to be more expensive and our lots are smaller than what you will find on the mainland. In doing so, we bring the outdoors in and get that fresh air and connection to nature, and we take the indoors outside to have living areas and space in that outdoor environment, growing the amount of living space you have. The islands have their own pace of life that's incomparable to the mainland, and it's very ingrained here. The pace of life is much slower, and that means things take longer, from driving around to getting construction projects done. It's something you should be aware of and understand. I have a get up and go mindset, so sometimes I have to check myself even after 2 decades of living here. It may take you some time to adjust to it first. Don't bring a mainland attitude of getting things done now. Patience is highly valued here, and trying to rush others will make it hard for you. Part of this comes from island life, and the other part is from a struggle with the cost of living here. So there's an emphasis on having a quality life and making sure to enjoy life, and there's much less of an emphasis on trying to keep up with the Joneses. Being flashy with wealth, demanding of those around you, and closed-minded about what others are going through are a surefire way to not fit in. I've seen mainlanders go through all of these, then complain that they don't fit in. Even the work clothing here is more relaxed, which we call Aloha attire. The culture in Hawaii is unique as well. Hawaii is a cultural melting pot of ethnicities that puts community first. There isn't any one race that is seen as the majority. You're a minority, and so is everyone else. From Native Hawaiian to Japanese, Chinese, Thai, Filipino, Pacific Islander, Portuguese, and mainlanders, the list goes on and on. This diverse spread of people brings with it a natural mixing of influences from various cultures, leaving their own unique imprints on the culture of Hawaii. Traditions have been introduced and accepted into the broader Hawaiian culture and are practiced by many who live here regardless of their origin. Hawaii is also a family-first culture, or ohana. Family is important throughout the islands, and there is an expectation to look after your family and others in the community. Many homes are multi-generational, with grandparents and grandchildren interacting on a daily basis and caring for each other. Large family gatherings are irregular. Here you have to give respect to get respect. So for shopping here on Oahu, we have most of the things you would need, but because of our remote location, you will find we have less options to choose from, and they tend to be more expensive. The big box stores like Costco, Home Depot, Walmart, and even Amazon have been big helps to Hawaii in helping improve on the number of options we have to choose from and on the costing. But even with Amazon, you'll find certain items can't be shipped to Hawaii, or when I've been building homes, I have to make sure to check and double check on the lead time for some materials, as they aren't all on island and it can take 6 to 8 weeks to get it shipped in. If I'm not careful, then that leads to unnecessary delays on my construction projects. I was buying some home decor items to be shipped here not too long ago, and the shipping was going to cost 40% of what the actual items cost. So you will run into some challenges, but in general, you should be happy with what you have access to. So in Hawaii, our wildlife is mild but wild. You are living in the tropics, and that comes with bugs and some pretty amazing ones, such as those B-52 cockroaches that fly at you. We have geckos, spiders, and centipedes, but what we don't have is really dangerous animals. You won't see mountain lions, we don't have snakes, so it is a pretty amazing feeling to be able to go hiking into the ko'olaus and not have to worry about what you're stepping on. You may have to be careful of the occasional wild pig, but otherwise, our wildlife is pretty mild. The wildest things we have are in the ocean, and some are mesmerizing, like when you see a green sea turtle or a monk seal at Kaimana Beach just sunbathing itself and laying in the sun. It's pretty awesome to see. There's a lot to consider and understand about Hawaii before you make the move, and it can be a bit overwhelming. We have been helping people make the move and buy a home here for a long time, so we definitely have the resources to share with you so you can make the best decision for your needs. I'm happy to share all that knowledge and experience with you. Just check out the description to get started on some of our resources that may be helpful for you, and contact us directly. Also, leave a comment below or tell us what other videos you would like to see us do. We would love to talk to you or help you out in any way we can.